Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation reads like this: Hello brother Nanshi, how are you? Can you please post my story as hidden identity? My brother, I want to tell you about our family's history. So growing up, we always knew that there was something that was wrong with our family. And when my father grew up, that was when he chose that it was not okay for him to build his own home in the same village in which he grew up with all of his siblings. This was because of all the things that kept on happening to him and everything that was happening to my mother. Because when my father decided to build his own home, this was after he had gotten married to my mother. When he saw all the things that were happening to my mother, that was when my father decided to go and look for another place where he could build his own home. So my father and my mom, they ended up building their home in another village, which was very far from the place in which my father grew up in. And everyone who has been causing all of this drama in the family, it is one of my father's brother. He is the eldest in our family. But today I want to talk about my auntie, the way that she died. She really had a very painful death. And all of this was because of my uncle, the one who is a ritualist. At that time, when my auntie went missing, what she didn't know is that our uncle, the one who was the eldest in their family, had been troubled by all of his goblins / tokoloshis. So his goblins, they had been going around the family trying to look for someone that they could use as a sacrifice, because they were requiring blood from my uncle's relatives. The only problem that my uncle was now facing was that he didn't know who else to sacrifice, because everyone in the family was now a Christian because of all the things that were happening in the family. So whenever he would send his goblins to go and sacrifice one of his relatives, then they would come back to him empty-handed, because wherever they would go, they would meet up with people who were praying. So these things, they kept on troubling our uncle. It reached a point whereby my uncle had a lot of cattle on one of his plots. So, but we only knew the reason as to why my uncle kept a lot of cattle at his plot. It was because he was feeding the blood of his cattle to those goblins. We only knew about this fact. This was after my father, there in the village where we grew up in, there was this other man who had came and spoken with our father. Then my father went and he spoke with his elder brother, our uncle, and he told our uncle that there was this other man back in the village where he was staying that was in need of a job. Because there at our uncle's farm, what kept on happening was that cattle would just randomly die, and whenever the cattle will be found, it will be as if there was a mysterious creature that chose only to drink up the blood. It will only drink up the blood and leave the dead cattle just like that. So when that man, who was from the same village from where we came from, started working for our uncle, he was the one who finally came across one of those dead cattle. After he had came across one of those dead cattle, he then told our uncle everything that he had seen on the farm. But to his surprise, our uncle was very angry at him as to why he had came across such a thing on his plot, so much that our uncle ended up firing that man. My uncle then told my father that the man who was working for him was nothing but a thief, and he never wanted to see him in his life again. So when my father confronted that man, the man then came and spoke with my father. That was when that man revealed all of the secrets and everything that was mysteriously happening at our uncle's farm. And all of these things, everyone in the family knew about it. So everyone was really scared of our uncle. But when our auntie came back into the picture, she then revealed to us what had happened to her. Because as far as we had been told, we were told that there was a time when our auntie had gotten married. After she had gotten married, that was when she went missing. But when our auntie came back into the picture, she told us everything that had happened to her. She told us that when she got married to this other man, the man was from Malawi. So they both traveled to Malawi, where they had their family there in Malawi. Our auntie then told us that with her husband, who was from Malawi, when they were still there in Malawi, they had 3 children. But amongst her 3 children, one of her child had gotten the opportunity to go and work in the United Kingdom. This was after the death of her husband. So when her last born was now working there in the United Kingdom, the boy then asked him what she wanted, if she wanted to build a home there in Malawi, or if she wanted to travel back to the country of her birth so that she can reconnect with her relatives. After this, that was when my auntie told her son, who is there in the United Kingdom, that she had chosen to travel back to the country of her birth so that she can reconnect with her relatives, and she wanted to build her home here in Zim. And that is what happened. When she came back in Zim, our auntie told us that her son, who was there in the United Kingdom, then managed to send her a lot of money, in which she used the money to buy a property. But she had not yet been sent some money by her son so as to start with the building project. She was still waiting for her son to send her the money so that she can start with the building project. So when she was still waiting for her son, that was when she decided that it was high time that she had to connect with her relatives. That was when she came back to the village and to meet up with our uncle. But when she came, what she didn't know is that our uncle was now a ritualist who was ready and waiting for a sacrifice. But all of these years, when our auntie was missing, he had not yet managed to find anyone whom he could sacrifice, because everyone was praying. As for my mom, she was quite a prayer warrior, because a lot of things could have happened, especially to my father, if my mom was not a prayer warrior. I'll come back one day with that story. Unknowingly, when our auntie came and spoke with our uncle, the eldest in their family, then our uncle told our auntie that there was a traditional ceremony that was supposed to be held for her, since she had gone missing for so many years. So he said that there was a ceremony that was supposed to be held in her name so as to welcome her back into the family. But my brother, when our auntie agreed to that ceremony, what she didn't know is that our uncle was getting ready to have her sacrificed. Even by the time that me and my father, we traveled back to the village so as to attend this ceremony, it was already too late. Even my father, he knew that our auntie was going to be sacrificed. What later happened to our auntie after the traditional ceremony had been performed so as to welcome her back into the family, our uncle then decided to cut up a piece of land so that our auntie, when it will be time to start planting, our auntie could actually even cultivate some of her crops. Then one day, when our auntie had gone into the fields, whilst she was busy cultivating, she then said that she felt that there was someone who had slapped her, and from there on she got sick. And the thing that happened next, my brother, it was really scary. These people that are ritualists, they do not even have a heart. They are not kind at all when it is time for them to sacrifice. Because my uncle then took my auntie and he went with her to his home, which was in the capital city, and he started staying with our auntie there. But when our auntie passed away, that was when we heard of all the rumors of the things that were happening happening whilst our auntie was sick. The rumors that we heard was that whenever the sun was about to go down, our auntie would hear some scary creatures as if they would be playing in the living room. These creatures, as they will be playing, they will be getting ready so as to torment our auntie throughout the night. When our auntie spoke of all the things that kept on happening to her when she was sick, she said that when the sun was about to go down, she kept on hearing creatures that were laughing in the living room, and those were the creatures that kept on tormenting her throughout the night. And once darkness had approached, our auntie then said that those evil creatures would then come into the room where she would be sleeping, and the creatures would start tormenting her. That is how our auntie passed away. If I ever get the chance, I will tell you everything that happened. If my mother was not a prayer warrior, I'm pretty sure that even today my father would have died from a very painful death. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received, and we had to have it translated. As difficult as it was, strange things do happen in this world.